Hey guys, how you going? Mark here. Um, I just want to give you a bit of an update. It was on Monday. I got to see my leg as a through knee amputee for the first time. It's pretty raw. There's a lot of stitches and a lot of staples, but the surgeon's really happy. So it should be good. The plan is from here on Monday I transfer to Waikiki Private Hospital for 2 weeks, and then after that I am on my way to Fiona Stanley for 4 weeks to learn to walk again. I'll quickly throw in a few pictures of my leg to see what you think. So as you can see, there's a lot of stitches, a lot of staples, and it's still pretty fresh. I want to talk to you today about my backstory. My surgeon came and got me before, and he took me to see a girl who's 19, pretty much exactly the same thing as me, got T-boned, and I was talking to her and explaining about my amputation because she's just had her leg amputated above the knee. And it kind of made me realize that I haven't actually really explained my backstory in a great depth. Now, I do a lot of motivational speaking and a lot of public speaking, so it's pretty much going to be explaining what I explain to my audiences. So we got back from deployment on the 13th of December. We had a few days working before we wrapped up Christmas for the year, and we go on reduced activity period, which is RAP, and that was started on the 18th of December. So on the 17th of December, last day of work for the year, we're all pretty pumped. The captain gave us a family's day, so we bring our families on board, and I brought my brother and my dad on board. And we showed them the guns, we showed them the fire hoses, all the compartments on the ship, the engines, all the cool stuff, all the good parts of being in the Navy. And they had a great day, we really enjoyed it, and from there I left the ship, jumped on my bike and rode to my mate Thorpe's place. So I got to Thorpe's place, had dinner, caught up with himself, his wife, and his little daughter, and had a great meal. Consumed 2 light beers, but I made sure I was still under the limit. So I just threw my motorbike gear back on and jumped on my bike. I always made sure I ride in full Kevlar. You see so many guys riding in shorts, t-shirts, thongs, and you're an idiot. The reason I'm alive is because I rode in Kevlar. The only scratch on me is that little scar there. You can barely see it. But I get really annoyed when I see these idiots flying through traffic in just in a pair of shorts. Anyway, so I left Thorpe's place, and a kilometre from Thorpe's place, I was going down the left side of the road. The driver that was going down the right side of the road turned across my lane to go down a back street, T-boning me. At 70 kilometers an hour on my end, and whatever speed he was doing, I was hit pretty badly. I traveled 30 meters and my bike went 20 meters, and I was in bad shape. So I had a split femoral artery and I was bleeding out rapidly, but I was standing up on my leg, and my bike was in 2 pieces. The handlebars and the forks had come away, and I was holding onto the handlebars trying to ride my bike. Everyone was trying to get me to lie down to rest. I had a broken neck, but at this point the adrenaline didn't really matter. I was in shock. And I was trying to ride my bike home and tell them I all had to go to work so they can get lost. Now I had just finished work and it was 8:30 at night, so I clearly wasn't going to work. They put me in an ambulance and they didn't call the chopper because they didn't expect me to make it. I would have bled out in 5 minutes if a lady named Beck hadn't torn a get into my leg. I was extremely lucky and I'm extremely thankful for her. So they took me in the ambulance. No one expected me to make it, and I got to hospital. I went through a lot of surgeries, but they kept my leg. My leg started poisoning me, and if you've seen a few of my other videos, you might have seen the pre-amputation photos. So my parents had to make the decision to amputate my leg. I was in a coma, so I couldn't sign off on it, so they had to do it for me. And the surgeon that was going to do it consulted with Professor Zellweger, who's a really well-known surgeon in Perth, and he's also worked internationally as an AIDS surgeon. So basically, the surgeon went to Zellweger, and Prof said, look, give him to me, I can save this whole leg. And he tried, but he couldn't. He had to amputate 5 centimeters below the knee, but he had saved my knee. He sat there in the waiting room, and he tried with my parents, but he couldn't save my leg. I mean, what type of surgeon has that much passion, that much enthusiasm for his patients? So I woke up 10 days later, broken neck, 11 ribs, punctured lung, a ruptured kidney, my heart was grazed, 4 fractures through my leg, split femoral artery, 4 pins inside of my leg, and a rod from my knee to my hip, and my leg was gone. My first words were, "Oh, fuck." Like, how do you comprehend this? How do you accept what's happening? I mean, one minute you're riding home, the next minute you wake up in hospital and your whole world's changed. So yeah, I woke up and I had a lot of people come to visit me in ICU. I had like 200 sailors rocking up. Now I reckon half the boys were there just to check out the hot nurses, but yeah, that's the boys were. So yeah, for me, it hit me pretty hard. I mean, I'm an active person. I do a lot of sports. Anyone that knows me that I've done rugby, martial arts all my life. I wakeboard, I run. Anything stupid, bungee jumping, skydiving, I've done it all. And it started to hit me that this was the reality. And they strapped me to my bed for 3 days straight. I had breathing tubes in and I'm trying to pull all the breathing tubes out. And every night I got that suicidal that they had to get my mum to stay with me every night. And every night I would scream and I would cry. And I couldn't do this. I couldn't be this one-legged freak. I couldn't be a burden on society. I couldn't be a burden on my family. I was not going to be this one-legged freak that brought everyone else down. So every night I would ask my mum to get a gun and put a bullet to my head. Now, I don't know what that's like as a parent, because I'm not a parent. And I know, like, mum has so much love for me, so what must it have been like for her when you've got your child asking you to end their life? So my captain heard how suicidal and depressed I was, and he put me in touch with Paul DeGalda, the Navy clearance diver that lost his arm and leg in a shark attack. Now, Paul told me people are going to tell you what you can and can't do for the rest of your life. They're going to tell you they're going to define your limits based on what they believe, not what you believe is possible. Tell them all to fuck off and set your own limits. Never stop pushing. And I did. From that moment on, I was like, get me off all the drugs, get me off the ketamine, I can do this. And the fight that kept me alive, it returned to me. I was going to do this. I was Mark Daniels again. I started responding to physio. I started responding to visitors. They were getting me out of the hospital for visits. And I got transferred to trauma. Now, I was on 1,100 mils water restrictions. I had to try to get the fluid out of my body, so if I was taking too much fluid, I wouldn't lose the size of my leg. And like, it was 43 degrees days, and my mates would take me out to the city and would have lunch, and I'll be that overheating and about to pass out, would have a bottle of water. Now, you think 600ml bottle of water, and there's half your water intake gone for the day. At night, because I had exceeded my water intake for the day, I would have to beg for a cotton wool ball with a little bit of water, or they would give me crushed ice cube, and I had to suck that, and that's all I had. Now, I'd had breathing tubes in my throat, so my throat was so raw. Another thing I really struggled with is state trauma unit in Perth is really busy, and the tramadol I was taking made me really sick, but I was wearing the J brace that you've probably seen in a few of the other photos, and it came out to here. So I would try to get a sick bag up to my mouth, but the brace wouldn't let me do it, and I would get vomit all between the brace and the brace's like padding, which would get covered in vomit, and it would go between my skin and the brace. And I wasn't allowed to shower, so the best I got was a wet wipe, and they would wipe me down. Now, I used to beg them for a shower, and like, I had been 3 days without a shower, and I stank, and like, I was really smelling pretty bad. So I was begging my nurse. She's like, no, I don't have time, like, I can't shower you. And then in pops this little blonde nurse, Sinead, in a little pink gumboots. She's like, that's it, I'm gonna shower you. And she takes me for a shower, and I've never felt better. But dignity, no, throw that out the window. You don't have dignity in the shower. You don't worry about nudity. You don't worry about having to shit in a bedpan. It's just part of life. I mean, you're in hospital, like, you don't really get much choice. And catheters, I hate catheters. So, I start fighting, I start getting better, and they finally release me from hospital. So I go home to the house next door to my parents' place, which I started renting. So I still had the help, but I still had my independence. that's when I started realizing how hard everything was. In hospital, I had all these goals. I was going to run, I was going to walk, I was going to run in 3 months, I was going to walk in a month, I was going to go to the Paralympics. Who needs 2 legs? It's for fucking losers anyway. But it started to hit me like when I couldn't even feed myself. I couldn't get off the sofa. I was pretty much a cripple. I remember one day, specifically, I was trying to feed my dog, and it was a 15 kilo bag of food, and I put myself on the floor, and I tried to tip the food into his bowl, and that was it. Like, he was only getting dried biscuits because that's all I could manage, and I couldn't lift the bag, and I got that angry that I somehow summoned enough strength to throw the whole bag of 15 kilo food, killing my ribs, and biscuits went absolutely everywhere. And my border collie Diesel went around and he picked up every single little biscuit, and he thought it was the greatest thing in the world. It gets 15 kilos of food. So I ended up in the fetal position, bawling my eyes out, like, that's it, like, I'm so over life. And Diesel came, lay his head on me, and we lay there for about half an hour, and I was just bawling. That was a turning point for me. I then started to realize in order to be mentally strong, I need to be physically strong. So I knew I had a weight bench in the shed, so I went to the weight bench, and I was like, yeah, like, I used to be able to do dumbbell chest press, 40 kilos each arm, easy. I'll do 15 kilos. It's achievable, it's realistic. And now that's probably the first realistic goal I've made. However, what I didn't account for is that when I went back and I tried to push the weights up, is I didn't have my right leg to push off. So I fell off the bench. And that was it. I was done. Fuck the world. I hate everyone. I was throwing weights, I was throwing the bench, I was crying, and I was an absolute mess. Now, when I was in hospital, my brother Owen, he was training at Good Life Success. This isn't just a plug for Good Life because I'm sponsored, it's part of the story. And his PT, Dimitri, Dimo, he put the invitation out to me that when I was ready, he wanted to train me. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to need some help for this. So I called him up and he said, look, I'm training your brother tomorrow morning, come in with him. So I got Owen to come pick me up. Now, Dimo pretty much taught me how to train with my injury. I'm an amputee, like, that's never going to change. So many physios and doctors and people have questioned why I can train with one leg. I was like, because you train with 2 legs, I train with 1 leg, it's all I have. Like, you just adapt and you learn to adapt. And that's based on Dimitri. Like, I started being able to lift light weights, and that ignited the fire. And then from there I lifted heavier weights. And slowly I started to build myself up, and I realized I can do these amazing things. I can inspire people, I can motivate people. And I built myself up to the level that I'm at today. And like, that's it, that was my turning point. And from there, I've started to realize that I don't have any limits. I mean, a lot of people said for having my knee amputated, I'm crazy, but my knee was holding me back. And I'm never going to achieve greatness if I've got a knee that doesn't work. So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory to how I got to where I am today. If you like it, give it a like, share, subscribe, and comment below if you've got any questions. Cheers guys, have a great weekend.